me. Do the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, this is normally the part of the meeting that we, anybody's got something that's not on the agenda, you can bring it up. We can't vote on it or make a decision on it, but we'll table it till the next meeting or till we can get anything. Anybody got anything?
I do.
Okay. And who are you?
I'm Linda Dawson.
Oh, heck, Linda, I didn't even recognize you.
Linda Dawson. I'm good, thank you. I wanted to go over my deputy director EMA position, report with you guys for a few minutes, if that's okay. I was hired back in, I'm good.
Oh, you're good.
I was hired back in May of 2021 as your deputy director. My job responsibility that I accepted was to do plans, grants, LEPC, our CERT team, all of our 17 plans that are in the basement, keep those updated, our community emergency response plans, all kinds of good stuff. So that's what I was hired to do. And I just wanted to go over that and give you guys an update of what's been completed, okay?
Okay.
So I have a list here. I actually was really good about this, and I broke it down per month so you guys could follow. Now this, you guys have got to remember, this is a lot of FEMA stuff. So you're going to hear things like FIRA, HIRA, core capabilities, HC, all that good stuff. And I broke it down actually in the report for you about what those things mean. So Jeff, you can come up if you want to. We can go over this. You sure? Okay.
Hit that black button up there on the side of that.
So back in May, when I first came on, LEPC hadn't been touched in over like 3 years. So there's a lot of upkeep in May and June on our local emergency planning committee, which Randy serves on. So I got that out and got that going. Right at that time, we started going straight into grants into June. So we completed a grant with IDHS. I completed the FIRA, which is you guys can read, it's the Threat Hazard Incident Risk Assessment. HIRA, the Hazardous Assessment. Core Capabilities. We were awarded at that time because LEPC was up to date $4,000. Continue with LEPC, there's a lot of bylaws, minutes, notes, trainings, exercises, got all that up to date. In June, IDH came out with another grant that I applied for that, which was denied. I tried for PPE equipment for our CERT team, and that was denied. Received another $4,000 for LEPC compliance, updated our hazard mitigation plan, HC compliant exercise training, and these are things that are required through IDHS. IDHS, there's a lot on behind the scenes that requires us to do things to be eligible for grants. So that stuff was all up to date. Let's see, I'm just trying to hit the highlights here. Back in July, we completed the NIMS. We completed our SEERS, which is also a requirement. The county inventory, the county resources was completed. And then we started in August doing reports for our SEERS, which was our special events. The county or the state wants to know if we're having like the fair and all that stuff. Who's on standby? Where's the nearest fire department? Who's on standby there and all that stuff. So that's all been completed. In September, we did a tabletop exercise out at the Mid-America Science Park for all first responders. We had law enforcement, EMA, EMS, fire departments were all there. So that was completed. Again, more reports, more grants, more reports. You guys can kind of see where this is going. It's all good FEMA stuff. Continued with the LEPC. Did qualify for a couple grants in there through IDHS. Again, we were awarded $4,000 for LEPC, another $6,000 for LEPC. So with all that being said, it kind of breaks down, it shows you what I've done for the past year. Because there had been a question what exactly the EMA Deputy Director does and why you guys never see me in county. Reason why you don't see me in county is because All I require is a laptop and internet, 100% of the job. Trainings, exercises, plans, policies, procedures. Jeff gets to do the fun stuff. He gets to come up on scenes and, you know, handles all that good stuff, and I get to do all that dry, boring paperwork. So, with that being said, I just want to let you guys know I did tally up in, it wasn't even exactly a year, it was 9 months, or 10 months exactly that I worked for EMA here in the county. I added up just in the grant funding that I brought into the county in that short time frame, $43,000. I also, that does not include the MPG grant that EMA gets, and that is for half of the director and half of the EMA deputy director's funding. And I tally that in about $55,000. So you guys are doing really good on your grants right now. You're in compliance. Your plans and policies are up to date. Your LEPC team is up and active. The CERT team, which is our emergency response team in the county, when I left back in 2017, we had 45 members. Now we're down to about 17. Not exactly where I'm going to go with that yet, because I'm the program manager, so I haven't really decided how to move forward with that yet. But that's something we need to work on. Those are individuals that are trained to respond in the event of an emergency. They come and they help fire. I mean, most of them honestly are already first responders. So they'll come and they can do roadblocks for us. They can do damage assessments for us. They can, you know, they know how to use chainsaw, sandbagging, and all that. So we can do that later. Do you guys have any questions yet?
That's a lot of information.
It is a lot of information. And like I said, it's really dry, boring stuff. But it takes time to do those. Like our comprehensive emergency management plan that you guys signed in January. That roughly took me 2 months to do. I did just finish completing your emergency operation plan. It's a base plan. I just emailed that to Jeff today. So he will be getting with you guys and bringing it before Mike to get that signed. Okay. I would like to ask him to make sure that all 3 of you get a copy of that. It's 127 pages, but it's all about Scott County. It's about every first responder, how they respond, where they respond. It talks about a lot, and it's really good reading. I wouldn't lie to you, it's good reading. It really is. It kind of gives you a whole idea about emergency management, you know, because emergency management is a whole lot more than just responding to a scene. So it's about that planning and preparing. Okay, so with that being said, like I said, I wanted to see if you guys had any questions. I wanted to give you the report on that.
You said that you brought in $43,000, but that didn't include the grants for your guys' salary?
Correct, that was around 55. And I guesstimated that. I know what mine was. I guesstimated what Jeff's was. And it's about half of that, so. And again, guys, that's all IDHS requirements that you have to have. If you do not have that stuff done, you will not qualify for any grants.
But you're no longer in that position, is that correct?
I am no longer. I have been asked, my position was terminated as of April the 4th. No reason why. I was just terminated. But with that being said, I'm okay. I wanted you to know what was going on.
Thank you.
I've been asked to turn in my badge, my laptop, and my radio. So I'm turning that in today. I will let you know that another grant is coming out very soon. I'm gonna leave that in there. I have laid the foundation for you guys in your core capabilities, in your HIRA and your THIRA. Communications is always a big issue for Scott County. The next grant that's coming out is not even posted yet, but will be out in June.
What's it for again? For radios?
It will be for radios. Okay. Each county will be fighting for this money, all 92 counties, but you have a good opportunity to get $300,000-$400,000 out of the grant. If it's written right, your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed, and it's read several times. Okay?
Okay. So, thank you.
One thing, the only thing I have an issue with, I'll be honest with you today, is sometime in November, and this sounds bad on my part, but sometime in November, December, I have not been paid for my services. So I would like permission from you to turn in my pay to Tammy and to be paid.
So
You just need to put the claim in. the
Yeah.
hours that you work. to
Okay.
be Paid for the time.
That's what I said, a time card or whatever you do, so.
Okay, well, normally Jeff did it, and I, again, like I said, it's kind of embarrassing. I don't do my finances, my husband does my finances. And I'm sitting there working on a grant one night, and he's like, what are you doing? I said, I'm finishing up this, I don't even know what the last one was, but he's like, Linda, you haven't been paid for that in like 6 months. I'm like, what? So then I texted Jeff, and he had mentioned that, yeah, we needed to sit down and talk, and I said something probably that was really mean to Jeff, and I apologized to him since then. So we're just gonna end this on good terms.
Okay, sounds
Okay.
good.
Do you guys have any questions about all the good stuff?
No, thank you.
No? I'm always available if you have any questions, okay?
All right, thanks, Linda.
They'll,
Thank you.
the claim will come in the next, if you can get it in, it'll come
Okay.
in the next cycle.
Is
right?
that Tammy? Oh, we get into
Yeah.
Tammy.
Put it in.
Okay.
the office.
Alrighty, thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
And then I've talked to Andrew. I'm actually, I don't know where to leave my laptop because it's got
Leave it
all,
here.
it's got all of my passwords in it. I
Oh,
would,
you need to go down.
yeah, I would like for it to be cleared out
Mhm.
before anybody
Yeah.
gets it.
Thank you for your
Okay,
service.
thank
Appreciate
you.
it,
I
Linda.
appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you.
Here's my badge, boys.
All right,
Thank you, Lynn.
thank you very much. All right. Good, prosecutor.
Thank you. I don't know, if I emailed this stuff to Tammy, I don't know if she get you guys copies, so. I got it.
That's courthouse accommodations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you already have a copy of it. So here's some extras if anybody wants any. I have with me Judge Magistrate Frazier, and then the prosecutor is also present. First of all, I'd just like to thank everybody for moving so quickly on the emergency we've had upstairs. I appreciate that. It's been a real adventure over the last 2 weeks. We've been operating fully remote for the last 2 weeks because of the situation with the roof over the 148-year-old portion of the building. I understand we're working on solutions for that. I think that we will be ready to operate in person at Mid-America on Monday, is what I'm hoping, if IT gets everything together. I'm supposed to pick up keys on Friday, and then we're going to kind of move what we need to move on Sunday, and then hope that we can get ready. One of my problems is notice to people and communication, and it's one thing to put on Facebook, we're going to be at Mid-America, but I've got protocols that I have to follow, and some of my people, if they're not in front of me, and I'm telling them this is where we're going to be, I don't have any way to communicate with them. So I say that just to say, as much communication as you guys can give me on an ETA on when we may be moving back would be very beneficial to me, because I'm scheduling out 30, 45 days. And so, for instance, if on a Friday I get a call and they say, well, the roof, we're done, you can move back in on Monday, I'll probably need another 2 weeks or so
Yeah.
to transition back. So just want to make sure everybody understands that.
Hopefully we can be closer on a
Yeah.
timeline than
Yeah,
that, so.
yeah, and I understand you guys are working on tightening the timeline, I appreciate all that. But just as much as, you know, if they say, hey, it's gonna be June 1st or June 15th, and I understand maybe we hit that mark, maybe we don't, but if when we have some estimation, the sooner you can get that to me, the more lead time I have, the easier it'll be for us to transition back.
I think the timeline right now, as I know it, is a week to 2 weeks as of Monday, that we'll have some documents from the engineer saying, here's how to fix it.
Okay,
And at that point, it'll be back to our roofing company, and assuming that they're gonna bid it, and I know they are, because they've already said they are, and they're within reason, we're gonna my opinion is to try to use the same company so that they can work faster
Yeah.
together instead of two different companies
Right.
working against each other. So-
right, any of that that's not my department.
Oh, I get that, but
Yeah, I trust you guys to do what you think's best, and it's like, my dad was a dentist, and my uncle was a farmer, and my farmer uncle used to tell my dad, you don't know nothing about stuff, and that's the truth. I don't know nothing about that stuff, all right? So you guys come up with the best solutions there, and I'm sure that's what'll work. Kind of a confluence of circumstances in that, you know, the roof causing us to have to move out, and everybody's already aware that we have kind of a crisis of space upstairs and have for a long time. We've been able to adapt and cope and operate over the last 2 years because of kind of COVID protocols, but eventually it's an issue that needs to be addressed. And whether the roof was going to fall this week or not, it was time for me probably to come back with these things anyway. We got Magistrate Frazier by legislative action authorized in 2018. She started in 2019, is that right? So been with us for 3 years. In late 2019, a group of us went around, John was part of that, got a group of about 10 of us, and we went around to different counties to see how they were addressing space issues. And then that's when kind of COVID hit, so we kind of hit the back burner. I did come back in August of 2020, came back and we talked about security, didn't get, or 2021 maybe, didn't get much progress on that because then all of a sudden we got COVID hitting us again, so we went back to protocols. But some of these things I've given you before, the security plans, so there's kind of two different things here. One is the security upgrades, which we've been on the table for a little bit. We've been through those things. I just want to see if we can get some forward momentum again. The last one, the number A4, I think is the one most of us feel like is the most appropriate, but we don't need to go through all those today. But that's the one that would build out on the north end where the concrete pad where the flag is, and then the public would come in the north end on the ground level, right to the elevator. So I think they would take care of our ADA issues. We could still use the ramp if we needed to. We could have separate entrances for separate secured entrances so that both employees and the public could come in through security, and we could manage that. And then everybody exiting out past security, which is also something that's important. But with regard to our space issues, for the last 3 years, we've been operating with 3 judicial officers with 2 hearing spaces. We've been using this space when we can. We've used the jury room when we can with portable recording equipment. A lot of difficulties with using that, confusion to the public as to where we are. Honestly, an informality of the whole process is difficult when the judge is having to come in and there's a lot to be said for the judge sitting a little bit above everybody else, and it brings a little bit of respect and decorum to the whole process. Having to set our equipment up and tear it out, not being able to leave it anywhere permanently. Again, the public never knowing where to go, the attorneys never knowing where to go.
Tell them where to go.
Yeah, well, that's right. That's my job, I guess. We were using this room quite a bit, and then we finally said, you know what, we're just going to start using the jury room. So we kind of set up kind of semi-permanently in the jury room. That works great until we have a jury trial, which we did last week, so 2 weeks ago. So then we had to pull it all out, set it back up as a jury room. We had to move the magistrate down here, which we were able to do, but again, more confusion, limited amount of space, and made it difficult for us to operate. I don't want to complain about my own circumstance, and I always joke that Judge Frazier and we've shared an office for 3 years, and I think we're kind of codependent, and I miss her when she gets her own office, but I'm the only judicial officer in the 29 judicial officers in the contiguous counties that doesn't have private chambers. I don't know of a judge in the state that doesn't have private chambers except for myself. Judge Frazier, again, I guess she would be the other judicial officer without private chambers. Also, I believe I'm the only department head without private chambers. So that creates a hardship on us as well. But the hearing space is really right now the biggest part of our problem. And I emailed a lot of this stuff to John a year or 2 ago, and I'm sure we lose track of it. But when we were working on this, I did get some floor plans from him. I did get authorized, I think, Randy, before you were on the before you were commissioner, I think I got authorization to spend some money for some blueprints. Those are pages, that draft floor plans. There's 3 pages there. The first one is the current setup, which that's not all totally accurate to the way it was built, but those are the original blueprints. The second and third are options. I'm not totally in love with either of these options. There's tweaks I'd want to either one of them, but they're close to what I'd like to have. The biggest things about this are it keeps my big courtroom, gives us a small hearing space on the 3rd level, on the 2nd level, on the same level, keeps Judge Hauser's courtroom the same size, and allows us to have access from one courtroom to the other, private access, not having, right now if I want to go to Superior Court, I have to go out in the hallway and walk down to Superior Court, which is a security issue. All of these plans would allow us to get from any one courtroom to the other in secure office space, not in public hallways. So another benefit. A lot of these plans would also give us some other things we're lacking, which are consultation space for attorneys and clients, which we don't have any of right now. Holding area for inmates, which we don't have any of right now. And again, it would be a major security upgrade and give us the flexibility on the 3 courtrooms. Now, in order to do any of that, we'd have to find space for the prosecutor's office. So I understand this is a long process, but I'm just here tonight to kind of put all that back out there and just kind of maybe start to move this ball in the right direction again. And maybe we can talk about solutions on another day, but I wanted to at least start moving in that direction and answer any questions anybody had.
Did the architect on either plan come up with a cost analysis for either one?
I got the plan, and I think it was like 3 weeks later that all of a sudden it's all hands on deck for COVID. So I don't think I ever got any estimate on what the cost would be. Now, I'm sure I could get that. Right after the world fell apart, they were emailing me about every month saying, when are we coming back, when are we coming back? And I'm just like, I don't know yet. So I've not communicated with them in over a year, but certainly I can reach out to them. And what I'd like to do maybe is invite them maybe to a meeting soon, if not the next meeting, and have them show up and maybe have some of those ideas.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Which option would you want? Would you say option 3?
Well, I like option 3 better, but it's not perfect. The third option is I think the best option, but there's things about it that I'd like tweaked, which I'd talked to the architect about. I would like the hearing room to be just as big as possible, and I think I could get about another 100 square feet or so out of that space. So I want to see about what other adjustments we could make in that space. But as far as where it is and the basic concept, where the public would come in and all that, I like the way all that's set up. So.
I have a question.
Yep.
It's more about the roof.
Uh-huh.
Maybe nobody here knows, it's more of our engineer issue, but is our clerk and recorder safe?
Yeah, there's.
Did he say so?
They're safe,
The
yeah.
engineers indicated basically that it's not a structural deficiency in the sense that the building would collapse. It's more of an issue of weight bearing, like on the tiling of the roof, where you can have things kind of falling through essentially when they shift. So their indication, we did ask that question at the meeting, was that nobody on the first floor was going to be in jeopardy.
And they've made that in paperwork to us that they feel like it's safe?
Well, there's nothing in writing, saying in a public meeting though.
Well, as a
Yeah,
structural engineer, he should be able to tell us that.
Yeah, I mean, we could request that.
I think so, it's a good idea, I don't want anything, something that was
I think it was just due to the kind of, quick nature of everything. We were trying to move as quickly as possible, and he wasn't necessarily drafting responses to us. We were talking live on a phone about, in an open meeting about, what the immediate issues were.
I would like to clarify something, the structural damage is, we don't know when it happened.
Right.
It could have happened 10
Yeah.
years ago. And my thought process, it probably happened with the 38 inches of snow we got. And we just now saw it.
Yeah. Right.
So, but
it's a
And I
Murphy,
get that.
it's a Murphy Law thing.
I get that.
You know, we don't expect nothing to happen, but
Well, I get
Well, that's
that.
what I,
Yeah.
when I told my staff on a Thursday, we learned about this, and I told them, we're not coming back on Monday, and they said, well, we're coming in here tomorrow. I said, yeah, and I said, well, if it's not safe Monday, why is it safe today? I said, well, it's been up there 148 years, I think we'll get one more day out of it.
Well,
So,
well, I would like to
Yeah.
see the engineer
Yeah.
put something on paper for us, Phil,
That's
and
fine.
they feel safe. They probably can't give 100% answer.
Sure.
But it's like wearing a hard hat
Yeah.
in a coal mine. What's that hard hat gonna do?
Yeah, that's right, so.
We asked Amy to just send a request. Well, I don't know who's in best contact with the current engineer. Okay. Could we ask to do what John's asking and send?
Brandon.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
That's-
anyway, we'll
yeah,
get that, but, if I can get, to me personally on this, I'd like to see some cost analysis.
Yeah,
so
sure, absolutely.
we know what we're talking about,
Well, and here's the thing, the one thing I didn't mention, I'll let Chris speak for himself, but, my space crisis is one thing, and then me saying, well, I need to move the prosecutor's office is the second part of the domino. He's already got major space issues as it is, so it's kind of like two birds with one stone.
Yeah, I think I think all three of them have been up to see our space issues.
Yeah.
You got fun.
Yeah. People sit on top of each other in there. I think all three of them have been at some point to take a look at that.
Don't we have another closet we can open?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're using every
probably.
closet we've had.
We'll take the restroom, the next move is to take some of the restrooms out.
I think Judge Frazier,
Yeah.
they put her in a closet there
Yeah, well,
somewhere, yeah.
He doesn't-
Where we can find the space,
Yeah.
yeah.
She probably take it.
Yeah, I know, it's a domino effect.
Yeah.
You get what you get,
Yeah, then
he's
he's
gonna
gotta
get what he gets,
and then we're
he's
gonna figure
moving, and
something out.
somebody else gonna get some.
Yeah,
shut
well, and I
back door.
understand, I mean, and, you know, it's a lot of information, I would ask you to really take a look, particularly at the third page where I kind of, this is all the contiguous counties. There is not a contiguous county that has not added a judicial officer or expanded space over the last 5 to 10 years. So we're not alone on this. You know, there's two different trains of thought. Jackson County, Washington County built two brand new buildings ground up, moved everybody in them, and they're hardly using their courthouses now. I don't want that. I love my 148-year-old courtroom. So long as it has a roof on it, I want to stay there. But the other solution that Clark and Jennings and Jackson have gone to is moving the non-judicial offices to another location. And Floyd being the exception, Floyd right now space-wise is in pretty much exactly the same position we're in. They're busting at the seams. And I don't know, you may know more, but I just heard that when I went to the judicial conference last week, some of their judges said, I don't know how official this is or where if it's ever going to roll, but what I had heard was, in the category of rumor, was they were considering moving everybody out of the city-county building, including everybody, emptying it, totally remodeling it, and then moving back the courts back into it in Floyd, yeah. So I don't know if you have heard that or anything.
I've not heard that.
Yeah.
Then this was a long time ago where I heard some rumors about office spaces moving, because they
Yeah.
do have that second
We do have a second
complex that's out
Yeah.
off of, can't remember the name of the road, but they hold a lot of like commissioner and council meetings out there. And, yeah.
So anyway, Floyd has a crisis of space. Jackson and Washington have built new buildings. Jefferson just rebuilt from ground up due to the fire, but also has some additional space and added a judicial officer. You know, you think about, well, did we need a magistrate? I know that ship sailed. Yes, we did, but even if you think we didn't, Jefferson County got a magistrate the same time we did. They needed one. Jennings County, which is about 65–70% of us, they got a magistrate. Washington County's #1 on the list right now. So it's happening all over this part. You know, the need for judicial help is not just Scott County. So, you have anything you want to add?
I do not. You explained it very well, I thought.
So what I'd like to do then is let me reach out to the architects and see if I can have them maybe come to the next meeting and have some idea about.
I don't know if we wanna do it in a meeting or have like a workshop
Just
where
have a
they can
workshop?
come in
Okay.
and not being
In a
such an
public, yeah,
official type
sure.
of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Okay.
It can be more open talk
Yeah.
and not hold a meeting after the rest of the.
That would be fun. I'll get with Zach and.
Just so
Tammy.
we're kind of being the most efficient we can with everybody's time. I know you guys are busy every day, but because the plan deals with mainly like judicial offices and things like that, but obviously when you look at like the current structure and the makeup, like the prosecutor's office is essentially like a quarter of the
Yeah.
second floor. And they're already having some space issues. So is there any way that like when we talk to them about the cost analysis for overhauling the second
Well, I can,
floor?
they have looked at the whole building. They actually had a plan for us. They had a plan for us in the basement. And that plan, I don't know what happened to it. I've got it somewhere. Maybe I don't have it, but they have it. They can get it to me. Using an EMA and 4H. And that wasn't preferred to me because if we can share staff and share courtrooms, and then, you know, if she needs the big courtroom and I can use the little courtroom, it's easier to trade if we're all right next door. So I said, don't love it. If that's what I get, that's what I get. But don't love it. But I had them redraw upstairs. So yeah, they've got all the blueprints. They've looked at it all, and so they could.
I just want to make
Yeah.
sure when we're talking, we can talk
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
how we restructure, like,
Everything.
yeah. So.
Yeah, so and they can, depend on what direction we wanted to go or what space we were looking at using or et cetera, but they can look at all those things, so. So I'll get with you two and we'll just email something and set something up as soon as I can.
Yep. sounds good.
So, all right, I appreciate it. Again,
Again, I wanna thank you guys for, I guess, evacuating
well,
in
all right.
a timely manner. I know I was out there, twice with the mayor.
Yeah,
you know,
I appreciate that too.
Talking to him about space and then coming to a compromise on money wise, so, so I think we're,
Speaking of, we have like the updated copy for the commercial lease agreement. So it's a month-to-month tenancy, so what Judge was talking about for that he needs time, I mean, that helps us as well, because we
Yeah.
also need time to,
Yeah.
and the city needs time. So everybody will be kind of working on 30-ish
Yeah.
days.
and it's,
That's just what I want to make sure everybody understands, that I can't just be told on a Friday you're moving out over the weekend, so.
but again, I wanna thank the mayor and thank
Yeah,
you
no.
guys and.
Everybody did great. I came in on a Sunday and I told my staff, we got our fingers crossed and everything, we think it'll work out fine, but you never know, fire, catastrophic collapse or flood, anything I didn't want to lose, I packed up and took home, so.
Yeah.
Sitting in my living room right now, so.
I want to say I appreciate the fact that you're still here.
Okay, all right.
Well, hey, you know what,
That's
somebody's got
always
to
ringing
do
over your head for all these
Oh,
years.
yeah, oh, that's right, yeah. Well, I said, somebody had the long game in for me 148 years ago, they decided they were gonna.
John wasn't concerned about your
Yeah.
space, he
Yeah,
was
he's
said,
just
what
one
about the
down
first
here.
space?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Well, we're already out, so anyway, a lot of people waiting, I appreciate you guys, and I very much appreciate you getting us, space as quick as you can. If anybody wants to see those plans, there you go.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Kevin?
Can we actually go ahead and take up the contract before we start
Contract with, about the commercial,
with the city?
Yeah, you got it.
Yes, everybody should have a copy.
Here's
Sorry,
the
Kevin.
original from my son.
It's been reviewed by council for the city as well as the mayor, myself,
You good with it?
and Chris and Judge Mount have taken a look at it. We've made some minor changes, but to me, the agreement's fine. It outlines pretty much the space to be used, the amount per month, and obviously that was thankfully, dropped down, under a usual amount that they might charge.
Yeah.
Obviously, the notice requirements, I want everybody to be aware of, and
So you're saying there's a 30-day grace, so if we,
Yeah.
30-day, then
So
we have to
if you
give
look
30-day
at-
notice?
if you look at renewal terms under paragraph 2B,
Yeah,
it deals with the month-to-month renewal, so that's an automatic renewal, unless we provide some type of notice 30 days prior to. Again, that just means we have to stay on top of
yeah.
how this is working out, so that we can, first off, get notice to the city, notify Judge Mount and Chris regarding like when the change in timeline.
Okay. Just for information, it's 5,000 a month, is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, does that include judge, prosecutor, and any staff?
So, and I actually just talked to Chris, so it's gonna be Judge and all of his staff will be at that location full-time for the foreseeable future, unless and until we see something different. For Chris, the prosecutor's office, after discussing it, doesn't necessarily want to move the whole office over there. They want to, but they have a space that's been allocated to them over there so that as needed, they will have a place to go
Okay.
and
So they'll
work.
still be upstairs?
They will still be
And have a
upstairs
space,
predominantly, but in terms of having somebody there for in-person court, or any other issues like attorney conferences or anything like that, there's gotta be a space that's provided to them, and
At this cost.
at this cost, and Chris has approved that plan.
Have we addressed security?
That is a good question, no. But I think that that's probably more of a question for the sheriff's office.
Mhm.
And making sure that we have somebody out there with them.
There's not a security out there right now, but like I said, if there's an inmate there, there'll be a
Yes,
sheriff
yeah,
you know,
Obviously, transport will be
Personnel.
handled by a sheriff, but in terms of like just security there on a
day-to-day
day-to-day
basis.
basis, that's a really good point, actually, we need to.
Okay, I have thoughts on that, but we'll
Yeah.
discuss that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah.
actually, I mean, we have, I guess, let me look at that another way, we have 2 and sometimes 3 here.
Mhm.
Could we not just put one
That's
out there?
That's
You
where I
keep
would,
raising your hand up, what do you want?
I think, yeah, one will go from here out there is my understanding, and then they'll have a part-timer that'll be out there as well.
that
Okay.
was, yeah, we discussed that.
I
That was
didn't
my
know.
thought.
I think that's
One
correct.
guy could.
That's what
Oh,
I,
yeah.
here's,
That's my fault. All right.
Well, one guy can do it here. I mean,
So,
Here's a-
just to be sure, hey, Josh, just to be sure here, the sheriff in here, so
Yeah,
you're
that's
sure
what-
that's the plan, or you
that's
just,
why, that hearsay.
okay. All right.
Well, we
Well, I
need
think
to-
it's pretty good hearsay, and probably
I
not
think
a
that's
bad.
probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Is it reliable, you're saying?
Well, it's coming from Josh.
Well, let's see. We better,
No.
Josh, can we get it right here? There, that's what he said.
we better phone a friend.
Anyway, we want that addressed.
So I think that's an important point. Again, this is just to finalize the ability to move in on Monday, like Judge Mount's talking about, and get it all set up in terms of, you know, the logistics of
All right.
getting everybody out there. I think that can be handled at a later date. That's not necessarily a direct agreement with the city. I think there's an understanding that we're holding court there. We will potentially have to transport inmates,
Yeah.
if necessary. I mean, they're still doing Zoom court sometimes though, so I'm not exactly certain.
How often
Again, that's the
they're-
judge's
How often
prerogative.
they're
That's
gonna
not
be
mine.
there.
Yeah.
Well, the thing, I guess, and you know more about courts than anybody here, but I would venture to say if they're doing Zoom courts, it's no different right now. They're behind a closed door. They can lock the door and be in a room. There's nobody in the room per se, but if there is a trial or someone has to be
Yes.
arraigned in front of somebody,
That's where you
that
get
is
it.
where somebody's gonna be there,
Yes.
physically be there.
Um,
So, and I think he can work that out probably with the sheriff and
And I don't want to
security.
misrepresent, I have not been in Scott County criminal court since I started my position here, but, in general, most, at this time, like pretty much all uncontested hearings in criminal cases, so kind of initials, pretrial conferences, attorney conferences, status, those types of things are done by the attorneys, with the inmate available via Zoom from the location that they're in, or, you know, if they're out, you know, also potentially from home. Contested hearings, those type of things where, yes, jury
Yeah,
trials,
present.
they will need somebody there.
Okay. Well, what we're talking about for the people at home is that
That's
this,
just limited knowledge about
yeah, we'll fit,
what's going on specifically here.
find that out if you can. I know that's not your job, but you can find out what their plan is. And, so what we've got in front of us is a commercial lease between, the city of Scottsburg and the county board of commissioners, to lease, month to month, the Mass Park at 821 South Lake Road here in Scottsburg for, the court and for the sum of $5,000 a month. So, and this is,
One more question.
what's that?
This is Teresa. Where would we pay for this at?
We're paying out of our,
It's already, my understanding is it's already been essentially like allocated
Yeah.
for this type of purpose, because this falls under, there was money that was allocated for the purpose of the roof. That covered anything that would displace, employees or offices that are like already up there, basically. So this is a covered cost, so it's gonna come out of the funds that have already been allocated from there.
I reached out to
that the way
Tammy,
you
and
do
Tammy told me exactly that. She goes, you don't have to, because I asked her if we need to have an emergency meeting with the council, and she said no. They've already allocated up to $400,000 and advertised it for that, for the roof, and anything to do with the roof,
So-
and this has something to do with the roof.
Actually, the ARPA allocation specifically has not been made yet, but we have set that in motion. But there's $200,000 that was previously approved from the rainy day fund for use on the,
Shingles.
yes.
Roof.
At the prior commissioners meeting, there was a motion to like give back and then repurpose the 400. So that final step hasn't occurred yet. I don't want to misrepresent that, but there's money sufficient to cover the costs associated with any, we will reimburse essentially based on,
Actually, last year, I advertised for $200,000 for the roof
Yep.
from rainy day. Nothing has been expended. In fact, the first claim is in your packet for tonight. So nothing has been expended. You're not actually gonna give it back. It's just being expended from another fund. So for Tuesday for council, $200,000, or $200,000 for that part, and then $250 for the roof, the new findings. So all in all, $450 is what I have advertised for that.
But with our motion we made at the last commissioners, well, it's actually a joint meeting, where we gave the 200 back, the original 200 back into their rainy day fund is, I mean, that's going back to them and all the money will come out of our, correct?
Well, nothing has been expended, yeah.
When we get to that step in the
Right.
process.
It's the same concept,
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
right, but nothing has been,
Yeah.
we haven't been presented with a claim yet, so.
Okay, and that's, I understand that. So anyway, what was your question anyway, John?
Just the money.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. But Tammy, I cleared up with Tammy last week because I wanted to make sure that we didn't have to have a special meeting with the council to get appropriation for this rental part, and she said no.
Once you approve, or if you approve this agreement, the only thing that I know of that could potentially be out there still is, we have to get the deck sheet from our insurance company that shows we placed the city on as an additional insured, just like we would do. So if you'll go to paragraph 7. The insurance policy is required to be obtained by the tenant shall name the tenant as the insured and the landlord and any mortgagee as additional insureds. These insurance policies shall be issued by insurers authorized to do business in the state of Indiana. The rest goes with like cancellation policies under their requirements for the agreements themselves. So we just need to get that certificate evidencing the insurance policies issued, and then deliver that to the city before we can actually take a physical presence.
Would that be something you do, or?
No, it will go straight to our insurance agent.
From the auditor's office, or?
Mr. Buchanan.
Okay,
Yeah.
from the
auditors.
we'll
office.
notify them?
Yes, we'll
Okay.
notify them, they will authorize that, and then provide the certificate, we will give that to the city.
Okay.
The other part of this is I have reached out to Richie and asked him about a possible claim that we could file with him for the roof. And he's checking into it and it's twofold. One, would they pay any kind of damages? And the second would be, would they help pay for any money we have for moving the court to another place? And he's checking on that as well, so he hasn't got
So
back.
those are kind of two separate issues that are hanging out there, but that's something.
So we might get a reimbursement or something, or we may not get anything, so, but we did reach out to him and see if he would investigate it, so. All right, I'll entertain a motion if nobody else got a question about this lease with the city for the court system.
I'll make that motion.
Randy makes a motion to accept a commercial lease with the city of Scottsburg.
Second.
John seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so.
So we'll keep Mike's copy for the signature, and if we could send that to Mr. Stiggin so that we can get that back to her.
All right. Kevin?
Ready?
About time, right?
I just got a couple things. One's from NDOT for you guys to sign. They're replacing a bridge on 203, so a couple of our roads will be the unofficial detour. The one on 203 is gonna be Blotcher Road over to Shea Road.
Blotcher to Shea, wow, okay. We're gonna have several bridges out this particular year, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're gonna have 203, we're gonna have 56, and is there one on 3?
I'll look and let you know. I can't remember. There is another one, but I don't know where it's at.
The 56 is out west of town, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
That's the one I always get the complaints on when they go down to get on it.
Yeah, this one here, the other detour, maybe one you're speaking of, is going to be 56. And the unofficial detour will be Zion Road to Westlake Road.
That's the one.
That's the one.
That's the one.
That's the one.
We've been there before, ain't we?
Well, actually, they put one in, and I guess now they're moving back up to the next. Actually, there's been multiple wrecks there where people's ran in that creek, but, and actually, we've had a fireman step off that, there's not a guardrail there, and stepped off into the creek one night, so.
In the past, the problem was with the big trucks getting off.
Yep.
And they caused some damage, and if I remember right, and I think we'd wanna check on this, the last time all the damage done, I think after some negotiations, the state paid us back like $20,000 or something in damages.
That's when I went over on Bloomington Trail.
Yeah, but I just wanna make, is that still available, or?
Yeah,
no?
it's still available. It says NDOT agrees to reimburse Scott County for the costs related to damage repair on the listed unofficial detour. Reimbursable work must be approved by NDOT prior to the completion. So basically, in all honesty, you're at their mercy. If they look at the road before, and we can do the same.
But we need to take some pictures of.
Well, I think the
going out and doing
20,000 was
this.
a negotiated price.
It is,
back
and
then.
you can negotiate a percentage of what you
Yeah.
think the detour,
I think
I'll
we
get
need-
with you on that one, 'cause I know I'm gonna get phone calls on that.
I think we need to make sure we're documented our roads,
Yeah,
and then we'll do it afterwards and say, because I think before we just paved the road over on Bloomington Trail when they came in and just tore it all to heck.
I remember it, yeah.
So, all right, if anybody got any
I
questions?
remember going through
Anybody got any questions? Because Randy, one of these I think are yours and the other one's John's,
Yeah.
so. Question?
No.
you don't need anything.
I
just
need a
let me know.
motion to sign these.
Do we need to? do
Actually,
that?
all of them get,
Okay.
Yeah, you all have to, we all have to sign these, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the Indiana Department of Transportation detours for 203 and also on 56. Randy makes a motion, John?
I'll second it.
John seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so.
Will you have to do anything special? I mean, I told you I'd put some signs up and stuff. State will have their signs up, but.
yeah, I heard, the state will put their signs up for their official detour, state road. We won't advertise our,
Yeah,
but I mean, if it's
my experience is the truckers, God bless them, because they're out here serving us. But
I figure we try to get some no sell signs.
their computerization doesn't match up with facts sometimes, where they tell everybody to turn and trucker get down them roads and ain't got nowhere to go, and then it's all
Yeah, it's a
havoc
problem
plays
for
loose.
sure.
So I didn't know if there's some way we could better inform them, I don't know.
Yeah, we could try to put a couple signs up,
Jeff's got that
see if they'll pay attention
electronic
to
sign
it.
again, maybe you can.
Yeah.
No trucks, Lincoln.
Jeff,
We'll look at that.
you got those, don't you?
I'm sorry.
There's two.
Oh, is there another one?
Should be.
Go off to the landfill and get some more, because
Is there another one, Mike?
There were two I handed you.
See.
Did I
You
just
not
sign?
sign them both?
I must not have.
Is that one?
I gave it to you, it's in front of you.
Oh, yeah, open my eyes up. Get a new
What
pair
else
of
you
glasses.
got?
The only other thing I got is, I have 2 operator positions open right now. I kinda emailed you guys about wanting to turn one into a mechanic position / floater position, jack of all trades. So basically, I wanna, Teresa advertised to bump that up to mechanic pay, that position, and make it another mechanic position out of the other operators' pay, out of that budget, and just leave all that alone for now. Don't fill that position. For one, we're gonna use that money to up the pay into the other position.
So you're gonna leave one position open,
Yes.
create a different position and use the money for the one position, you're not to help pay for the other position?
Yes. And then, you know, next year budget time, I'll look at it and see if we need to adjust some of this around to make more sense. But right now, that's what I'd like to do, and that's what we was gonna take to council.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you probably
Yeah, we
get
have.
started here.
Yeah, start here.
I'm good with that.
I
I
am
saw your
too.
proposal, I thought it was, if your crew is good with it, I mean, cause you can have somebody go, well, we need more help, we need more, we always need help, but
Do we need a change in job description there? And then,
We have a job description for mechanics, so it would be council
Just go from-
to classify from one to the other.
Yeah, so that's just the first step. We're just gonna do that for now, and then we'll just adjust and look at it.
so, you wanna just do it on consensus that
I'm good
we're all
with
good with it?
it. Yeah.
Randy? So by consensus, we'll give you the go ahead to go to the council and get an answer for them. I got two things. First of all, parking lot over looks good.
Yeah, they did good.
They were over the next morning cutting that drain down. So,
I think we did.
Yeah,
I saw the salt, the concrete saw there. I thought, well,
and apparently they've had to change their plans, no more going down the middle.
Yeah, they had to do some moving around, to get it to go right, because, you know, originally the drain, I think he thought was gonna be in the center, but after the good rains we had, it seemed to all work out.
Yep.
Those guys are really spot on, so.
actually, I was pretty impressed with it.
About 8 hours start to finish. It's pretty
Cause
impressive.
when I came in town that morning, I turned and went over there and looked, I'm like, well, they're not here. So I pulled back out the highway and there was 4 trucks with all their equipment, so they were on it, so, anyway.
I'll be in contact with them and see when they're gonna stripe it up. I haven't heard from them, but.
We also, I mean, just to let everybody know, we talked about, possibly losing a space or so out on First Street so that people could turn easily and there won't be anybody coming out of there, so they'll all be turning into there. But the other thing was to make pedestrian sidewalk or a walkway across to the other side, so that people have a lane to walk in and not be just walking everywhere, so we're working on that as well, so.
Let me throw something out I talked to you about over a while ago. I don't think we've talked about this before. The mayor wanted to know if they could borrow the paver to do that little area behind the new, not Subway, Jimmy John's or whatever it is going in.
Yeah,
He wants to pave that. I'm good with it, but I don't know what everybody else thinks. I assume they would do their own work and we just loan them the.
We're not paving yet, are we?
Yeah, we're paid.
Oh, yeah.
We
You've
can
been out Lexington.
accommodate that, I mean, you know.
Well, there's
He said he had the people, and of course he said he'd be the operator probably. Of course, I called the TV station down to get a picture of that. So.
a good idea, yeah.
But anyway.
Well, we need to vote on that or anything. I'm for it if you need a
I think we
motion.
probably do to allow the city to use our paver. The city wants to use our paver to pave a alley behind,
That's not 50 yards long.
behind the car wash out by the interstate and,
is it our alley?
no.
No.
You can't do that.
But can we loan them our paver and they do the
We're
work?
not paving it.
You cannot do that.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a question, if you're saying that, if the city loans us their chipper or their stump grinder, how's that legal, but we can't do it the other
Because
way?
the statute specifically talks about county highway department.
Because he's getting fuel tax.
That's
Okay.
correct. So I don't
There's
think
a-
that it would
There's a
prohibit
little stump
the
grinding.
opposite.
They can.
I know, but
Because they
Again, and I haven't looked at like a city requirement, obviously, because I'm mainly focused on the county requirement, but we are not permitted to loan or use county employees as in the highway department or county equipment from the highway department for work on private property or property of another political subdivision. So in either of those scenarios, we violate the statute by permitting that unless we receive a petition from the landowner asking it for us to do it, and then, I don't know how this would work in the context of the city, and then
They have to pay it.
they have to pay it on their property tax. And you cannot charge
Yeah.
less than, I don't wanna say this, I say this with hesitancy because I haven't looked at the statute recently, but you can't charge less than like the amount of material requirement.
Can I ask something of you? Would you talk to Josh about that, their attorney?
I can, yeah.
Like, because we want to help them. I think we all do.
I understand that
Yeah.
completely. I just don't wanna get you in a.
Yeah.
Is there such a thing that they rent it, that they pay for it, or is that
One day lease.
My understanding was, when I read that law, that yes, you could do the work, but they have to pay the equivalent if you hired somebody to do it.
Correct. I mean, they have to pay the equivalent for what the highway department would pay for.
Okay.
Essentially, it's about using county tax dollars
Yes.
for county
Do
property.
you have a rate? Do you know what a rate is for 1 day of use of a paver? If we went and rented
can
one
find one.
someplace, is there a daily rent?
that machine? I would say $1,000. If you went to like McAllister or anything.
They'd probably be
Plus
happy.
material cost.
Well, they're not doing, I mean,
They're not using our
they're bringing all the other stuff. They're just gonna set on our equipment.
And
I'll have to
roll
talk
over.
to Josh about.
Yeah, we want to be a
Let's
good
table
neighbor.
it.
So,
table.
I'll have to talk to Josh about that.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Thank
They're
you.
just borrowing our equipment to do something,
understand.
and all the materials and stuff are coming from them. So,
so we can knock that off of our lease. Let's just throw that in there.
No.
Let's make it a little messier for you.
Okay. Good idea, though, cost police.
yeah, 1 day, you rent it for 1 day and pay us.
I mean, I don't think there would be something that would prohibit the city from petitioning, for instance. I just don't know how we tax the political subdivision as the county. I think they're exempt, so it's like, I don't know.
Figure that out.
If they don't pay their taxes, we'll just take City Hall.
They might have some issues with that, but yeah, I will talk to Josh and see if there is a potential way to, I think, get what we want done to be done within,
But it's just the machine.
I understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 things, mowing crew, are you gonna have a mowing crew this year?
I am.
And you're talking about a tractor, did you figure out something with the tractor?
The one that broke down should be getting reprogrammed this week, so we'll be getting it back.
This
We
the
got
Cat?
No, that's the John Deere, been gone forever. They just got the PCM modules, electronic part, couldn't get it, finally got it in. So we got that back, then we got the military tractor, so that's kind of where we're gonna probably.
So what are we doing with the Cat?
We're gonna try to adjust the pump or cut the shaft off one. I haven't figured out which direction to go yet. And try it. It's like pulling a slot machine. I guess.
So I'll throw my latest little bit in here, and this is maybe something Zach can answer better than anybody, or maybe nobody can. We might give River Hills. I haven't heard anything, this infrastructure bill, federal infrastructure bill, there's supposed to be grants we can apply for infrastructure. It could be anything from roads, bridges, to, part of that Build Back Better thing, and they passed it. And I think we need to get somebody on that, because there's some possible money there to us.
That'd be it.
River Hills, I guess,
That'd be,
yeah.
It would be River Hills that we're gonna look at.
And I haven't heard a word from them, so I don't know what's available there.
She was just here today,
Okay,
so I can reach out to
please.
Melissa.
Yeah, I got a feeling there's a lot of money there available, but you gotta go get it.
I think it's through FEMA.
I'm sorry?
Through FEMA?
Yeah, okay.
okay.
Thank you.
Anything else?
That's it.
I wanna say you wanna help me here, but
Oh, you had something, I wanna ask you about this one thing.
Okay.
Since I got you in front of me. Those 3 items right there.
Let's see here.
Yeah. Are those things that should have insurance on them? can you get with Teresa or Tammy and make sure that, those 3 items, we get them insured or something, or get them on our policy?
Yeah.
Because it's if I'm not mistaken, it's the new paver
And a skid steer.
and a skid steer. So, anyway, all right, that's what I was going to ask you today.
I'm a little mess already getting up a little bit here. I'm gonna jump down here to the donation of the bison stand for the courtyard. All right, so back in May 19th, 2019, before I was in office, the Visitors Commission offered to purchase a fiberglass buffalo stand for the buffalo to stand on, and that thing was $900, and of course it's made out of fiberglass. But the whole ordeal was they were supposed to make a picture, or well, a photo op for people to get up there and stand on it and have their picture with the buffalo and put it in the courtyard. Anyway, so I've been talking to Mike Chester, and they was gonna go ahead and order it again, and I asked him, I said, well, wait a minute. I said, let me go out to the Rockberry. So I went out to, me and Kevin went out to the Rockberry to see about getting how much it costs for a real rock. Because if you put it on the grass out there, when you start weed eating, and gets fiberglass, I think a lot of us knows what happens. It ends up eating fiberglass, and there goes your $900 rock. So, anyway, we was looking at rocks down there, and they said that they would go ahead and donate us the rock we picked out. And we picked that out by the size of the rock, matching that to the size of the buffalo. And to be honest with you, what we could actually pick up with our equipment and bring here for free. So anyway, the Rockberry wants to donate a rock to us if we will accept that donation. So I would like to make the motion to
So is it
accept that donation.
Is it a big block of rock, or is it kind of got a design on it, or
Do
kind
you
of?
remember the measurements of it? It's about 10
I mean, if
foot,
I was just gonna guess off the top of my head, I would say
9 foot.
maybe around 9 feet, probably 4 feet at the widest, kind of tapers
How
down.
tall is it?
Probably a good 2 foot.
Yeah,
And it's probably, probably a good 2 foot.
yeah, it's not real tall.
So you brought that up, Kevin Means, I talked to, we're gonna go out there, if you all decide to, we can go out there tomorrow and get it. We're gonna take our loader out there, there's some paperwork I gotta do, because we have forks, and he's gonna let us go out there and get it and load it up, and we'll haul it here. So kind of get with you, see where you want it, or we can take it back to the shop, so it's closer or whatever.
Everything about it I like, except for I wanna see it for a load on it. I wanna see what's gonna be in our courtyard before I vote on it.
You wanna see what?
I wanna see what's gonna be in our courtyard before I vote on that. I wanna see the rock. I want my heart feel like it's appropriate to what we want out here. And I think everything is good. You've done a great job on this, Randy. It's not a criticism. I just haven't seen it. I wanna see it.
Well, I guess get it and take it to the shop.
Yeah.
And that's great of them to donate
You
it.
leave it on the trailer at the shop until he sees it.
Yeah, well, yeah, we can unload it, it's not a big deal to unload it there. And we, actually, me and TJ was talking, we thought about just taking it to the shop and unloading it, and then
Yeah.
just taking the loader down to the courthouse anyway. So, that would be no big
Well, I think it's good. I just wanna
We
see
can do
it. That's nothing.
All right, well, I guess let's make a, motion to do it upon John's approval of the rock.
Well, you know, I know that sounds silly, but I want it to be appropriate.
Yeah, that's where I'm getting at.
We're still gotta make the motion whether or not we're gonna accept the free rock.
Well, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make that motion.
Randy made a motion to accept the donation from Scott County Stone for a stone for the buffalo that we've had out here that we've been trying to move for a couple of years, so.
I'm gonna wait till I see it, so I'm not gonna vote yes or no. I'm just gonna wait.
Now, I'll go ahead and, vote with Randy to go ahead and accept it, and we'll wait for So we'll accept the rock and we'll wait for John to approve or see what he thinks of it. But,
It's probably great. It's just, it's the old trust but verify thing. I want to see it.
Abstain?
He abstained.
You abstain.
okay.
So we're getting it tomorrow?
Anyway.
Was that the plan?
Go
You
get
are
it
gonna get it?
tomorrow.
Okay. That's all I need to know.
Go get it.
Go get the rock.
Go get it.
Sorry, buddy.
Go get it, call John.
Don't bring it down.
Okay.
All right, EMS.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be see you tomorrow,
See you,
probably. Poor guy.
John, I want to explain.
Yeah.
I couldn't get hardly anybody in there, and it was almost an act of God for me to get down in the bottom of the aquarium with Kevin. It was just, the right guy was there at the right moment, who just said, waive the safety rules, let the guys come down here and take a look at it.
Yeah, I think
And that was, that's why nobody got to see it before.
and everything you've done, I think you've done great with it. It's just that I just want to see it.
So Josh can follow
It's
along.
nothing you've done wrong at all. Actually, you worked hard on it. and Done a great
John's
thing.
gonna follow, John's gonna follow along.
He,
What are we doing now?
he needs me to take some time, so I'm just gonna make sure I got my stuff ready. First page that you've got is obviously the same financial stuff. I'm not gonna go over it unless it's mine. I wasn't gonna go over it unless you have questions, so.
I'll pick it up. I
Um,
don't want somebody to broadcast what they're saying on there.
so, runs and finances are on there. If there's any questions, I'll be.
So we're still doing good, runs up, normal, down?
April is one of the slow months. We did better than I thought, but it's still slower than the month prior.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah, good and bad.
I always say that's good.
But yeah, we had decent revenue. Transfers were down considerably from the month prior, so that hurts a little, but as far as that goes, we're all squared away. We're not any runs behind. Everything's billed and pending to be receipted, so it's in their hands now. And then training is still there. We now have 11 applicants for the paramedic program. We still have, what's today? 23 days of open advertisement, but with 11 students, we are going to go ahead and proceed and activate the class and do that. So
Sounds
just
good.
letting you know. Other business, Safe Haven Baby Box construction will start on May 16th. That is a hard date for that project. The hole in the wall will be cut and the box will be placed in the same day just to prevent any issues, but it may not be finished outside and in until the end of the week. He says he should, pending something catastrophic, should be done by the 19th with it. Once it's installed, Safe Haven comes down and gives it its blessing and makes sure everything works, so we should be good to go.
Good question, I know it's moved from the front to the side. Is there proper lighting over there? And I know we don't want a camera on it so we know who's dropping or whatever.
We're gonna hit the camera with the broomstick.
But as far
Not the
as,
other way, but-
but as far as lighting in that area, if it's in the middle of the night, somebody's not gonna be
So
out
it's-
there in pitch dark.
No, so there is a light pole to the east, it's probably 30 feet, so I mean, you're not being blinded, but it's well lit.
Okay.
And then we've got the foyer for the actual training room, 10 to 12 feet the other way, so.
Okay.
And
I just wanted
there's
to, I
gonna
didn't want
be,
it in a dark hole somewhere.
there is gonna be, I think it was Bryson Scott, Brody told me that Bryson was gonna donate concrete and time to do the little 4-foot pathway there. So there shouldn't be any trip hazards, and they're gonna taper it to where there's no tripping or anything of that, so.
Okay.
That should all be done there. We will still have to pay for the materials that aren't donated, that Brody's gonna do. Brody's donating his time. We'll still have to pay for the materials, but we should have sufficient funds left. I think there's around 8 or something left in there, so that should not be an issue.
That's for maintenance anyway, maintaining
Yeah.
it, so.
Ambulance billing rates I wanted to bring to you, to bring to your attention. It should be like the 4th page you've got in your packet now. Or 5th maybe. It'll say ambulance fee recommendation on there.
I've been getting with ambulance billing over the last month and comparing where our rates are to where they recommend they should be. And the highlighted ones on the first page, it's the annual or ambulance fee recommendation. The yellow is stuff that they can't recommend because it's kind of a specialized area that not everybody does. The ones above that are the ones that they recommend that are not highlighted. I brought this copy here that you guys can compare it to. These are our current rates. In shorthand, we're 200 below on every rate.
So what's the going rate and low?
This is in comparison to the counties that touch us.
Okay, that's where I'm getting at.
So you're asking to raise the rates?
Yes.
No, if we vote that, is that for the council too, you know?
It should not, because it's
Should
a
not,
rate
okay.
thing that doesn't have any, so if you like, if you wanna
Well, I don't
think
know.
about it, you wanna
Money.
talk about it,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's all has to do with income. I brought this hard copy. If you want to choose to sign it, it has to have your signatures as well as mine on it.
So, I'm gonna ask a question, you might have the answer, may not have the answer,
I
but
will do my best.
if, the majority of your runs, are they covered by some sort of insurance?
So, a majority of our runs are Medicare, Medicaid, which this will not affect. We can charge $1 million to Medicare, Medicaid. They're gonna give us our 7% and call it a day.
I guess let me ask a simple
There,
question.
with the hardship, I'll say this first. The hardship program that we have in place for the people that aren't covered will still be in place. The hardship appeal process that we have now will still be in place. None of that changes. For the people that don't have insurance, is their bill gonna go up? Yes, but it's gonna go up the $200. But the hardship program that's in place, the payment program that's in place, the payment option plans that are in place, those will all still remain the same.
How often do you get someone that has zero?
No, zero.
How often do you have somebody that doesn't have insurance that you're running on, that's not covered by the three or four areas, 3 areas technically, private insurance and.
1 out of 7, 1 out of 8 people probably that we run on, that we transport.
That has zero.
Zero. But the problem with that is you don't know whether those people, that it gets kicked back to zero because it's a workman's comp claim. It won't show that they have insurance, they don't file it under theirs, and then it's a delayed process.
Have you got
So it
that?
might
I
be,
wanna see the one that rates,
where we're at now,
no, we're wanting to go up to.
that you have the one we're up to, that's the one we want.
This
to go
is what
to.
we're going up to,
Yeah,
okay.
that's what we are at now. Without that, I'd probably say it's around 1 to 10.
All right, that's just what I'm trying to figure how many people it's gonna affect.
Mm-hmm.
Is it gonna affect a lot of people? Is it gonna affect a few people?
The thing now, I will say, and sorry to bring the audience into this, but the hospitals now are really good about the people that don't have insurance, about trying to get them on like a
Indiana.
hip.
What they call it, Indiana something.
Yeah.
Presumptive,
So
presumptive Medicaid.
it's kind of up to them whether they don't have none. If they choose not to go down that path, that's on them. The ability for them to get it is there. So.
And what we're doing is make it comparable to the counties around us, is that what you're saying, we're behind what everybody else is doing?
So our rates have not been adjusted since 2014.
Okay,
I think we need to. I mean,
we're not going higher than
Our
theirs.
supplies are going,
No.
our supplies are
I
going
mean,
up.
we might be higher in
Yours up.
one area than another, but like we're not,
Overall.
we're within not a lot. Like, I mean, we're not like $500 over anybody else. Like
Okay.
this is comparable to the counties that touch us,
Okay.
with the exception of the private services, because they do things different.
Any kind of idea how much more revenue in a year's time that would bring in?
There's-
I mean,
We can sit here and guesstimate to say with
Guesstimate.
a 8% increase, we should see 8%, but you're
Okay.
saying that those 100% of the people are gonna pay their bill at that 8% increase, so I mean, we can sit here, cause like, that's the problem is on $1,500, the $200 increase is at a less a percentage increase rate than the BLS, it's only $750 that that was at $550 that we're bringing to $750. That right there is 20% increase, where the other one is only a 14% increase, so. In theory, you should be able to take all the percentages, add them out, and say that that's what it's gonna be, but that's everybody paying their bill, and that's all collecting on every run, which when somebody finds a solution for that, please let me know.
And it's like, well, I think what you said, the most increase here, like $200.
It's, yeah, we, with the exception of mileage, everything is a flat $200 rate increase.
Okay.
Question?
I'm trying to think of this about all different
Okay.
possibilities here. And I can't. So really, this shouldn't affect anybody other than the insurance companies.
Or private pay. I mean, if you're at home and you don't have insurance, your bill will be $200 higher.
But if you have Medicaid, Medicare.
But
or
what I'm
private
saying is,
insurance.
if you don't have insurance and we transport you to the hospitals have people there that are trying to steer you in the direction to get you insurance, which will cover it. Whether you choose to take the time to do that or not, that's on you. And if you don't want to do that, that's.
Are we set up to where if somebody is trying to make a payment plan?
Yeah, we do.
We can drop that rate?
I have the ability to do anything from negotiate. If you come to me and say, hey, I don't feel like I should pay this, but I'll pay $1,000, I have the ability to approve that. I have the ability to waive your bill completely. I have the ability to, just like when, insurance companies want to settle, they'll say, hey, if you accept right now, we'll give you X amount of dollars, take it or leave it. I have the ability to say yes or no, just like I have the ability to send them to collections or whatever else.
And you should have that.
So, but on the flip side of it, I have the ability to prove hardships. And the hardship people will say, I can only make $20 a month. Cool, it's better than no dollars a month. And if, we get forms sent when they do hardships, it'll say, hey, I'm on fixed income. They have to send copies of their taxes. They have to send copies of their checks that they receive, whether it's Social Security or payment checks or whatever. They can't just say, I ain't got no money, sorry. They have to provide their limited income. And based on that limited income, we'll say, yes, we'll accept a payment, or no, we won't, or yes, we'll pay your bill, or no, we won't.
And if they don't provide anything.
And
your
what I'm saying is
alternative
that whole
report.
process will stay the same. None of that goes away.
Well, a lot of times they'll have, and it could be a repeat offender, I say offender, I hate to say that, a repeat customer or whatever. It could be somebody that doesn't have insurance, but they have a chronic disease that they're gonna keep calling.
Yep.
And keep calling, and I've seen them just say, we're gonna charge you once. I
Yep.
mean,
Because if it happens within a certain amount of time, that some companies will say, hey, this is one thing, or even with the hospitals, if they go back within a certain amount of time, there's variances with places there. So, I mean, there's a lot of variables and moving change that, we could sit here for the next 45 minutes to make Josh happy back there and talk about hypotheticals, but, I mean, there's
But the other part of
there's
that,
just a lot of moving parts to say, yes, it will or no, it
but the other
won't.
part of that is fuels went up.
Yep,
And
supplies have
and supplies have went up.
Yeah, everything's going.
So, and I mean, the thing is, we haven't changed in 8 years,
The huge majority is Medicare,
and
Medicaid.
it's not gonna affect them.
Insurance probably carries the big part of what's left over. You have probably a small percentage this is going to affect.
If I had to sit here and give you a rough guesstimate right now, again, rough, don't hold me to stone, it's gonna be, our self-pay people are probably less than 10%.
Well, and the reason
Because the money that we see wrote off is still stuff that Medicare, Medicaid fix their amount. If we send them $1,000 bill, they decide $300, we're still writing off $700 because we don't have the ability to balance bill. So we still see that negative charge. So,
Well, I'll make a motion to increase this.
Randy,
It's not on the agenda.
no, that's why.
okay, wait a minute.
Yeah, it was sent, but it never got put on there.
I'm going to make a motion to amend the agenda to include the ambulance fee rate. And I need a motion.
I'll second that motion.
John, I made a motion to amend the agenda to increase the ambulance fee rate. Randy seconded that, and John made that unanimous, so now you can do.
I'll go ahead and make this motion for you to increase your, rate.
Fee rates.
In the highlighted areas over $200.
Randy made a motion to increase the ambulance rates as presented. John?
Yeah, I'll second.
John seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so we all need to.
Yeah, it
sign this.
requires all of ours. 305. I believe Zach
You want-
might be able
Teresa,
to,
you want 2 copies of that?
Please.
I believe Zach might be able to add some insight on this. I talked to Tammy yesterday about the striker ordeal. So, we do in fact have a credit.
Bonus.
We cannot use it for our payment,
Thought that's the problem.
and we cannot get a check back.
Okay, but I wanna make, my understanding is that the yearly amount that was due was like, I'm approximating here, but like $120,000 under that agreement, but it's, we're receiving some kind of,
$153,394.15. You have a copy, but here's the OG one. There you go. You and I were under the same assumption of payment, and apparently that is not the case.
So what you're saying is they will not accept the credit that we have with them
Billy,
to pay towards a bill that we owe them?
correct, because our credit, semantics, our credit is with Stryker Medical. Our loan is through Stryker Flex.
yeah, that's right. Alright, that was my fault. I apologize.
So, you have copies of this hard notice here, which Stryker says what we owe them, and I think we in fact do. It
That's
is-
correct.
It is what it is, and
That needs to go in front of council for,
Appropriation.
appropriation.
well,
Well, and actually,
I'm trying to,
we talked.
the redevelopment thing.
Yeah,
You have to
I just wanna make
advertise
sure we get,
It should be. I sent all that stuff to Tammy, a revised one,
that's
actually.
right, I forgot about that. Is that amount gonna cover the total though?
Sorry, I didn't mean to snatch it from
That's
you.
okay.
So here's where we're at right now. So this is the 195. I cut a lot of the other stuff
You have
off
last
last
year's?
before. This clears first year's payment.
So redevelopment, have they?
They don't do that until, is it
Is
the
that the
25th,
notice?
John?
I'm sorry?
Redevelopment's the 25th or something of
That
this
was the
month.
date, I don't think it's actually been set in that, that's the date we
Does
talked about.
redevelopment have to advertise for?
It is
that?
being advertised.
It is advertised for?
It has to be advertised, I'm not sure if she did
Give
for
that
the
to
20
Teresa.
This was sent to
25th yet.
Teresa, or Tammy, excuse me. This has been sent to Tammy to advertise. I don't know if it has
Or,
been.
so redevelopment. Okay.
Correct.
I understand, alright.
You want a copy of this, or you good?
No, I'm good.
I gave her
If
that.
you will advertise it, maybe?
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, you're right, we
You
were
got a
looking at
copy.
the 25th.
I
Oh,
just
okay,
gave it to her.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
sorry.
Yes, please. So, with that, I know when I came to the redevelopment, before I went to the redevelopment, I came to you guys to say, hey, here's what I'd like to ask for. That cut into about 30 grand of what I'd like to ask for. So I removed a lot of it, restructured to where that entire payment, if they choose to vote that way, is covered by that, and then hopefully they'll approve the other stuff for purchases, but I removed, I guess, the less critical or less important items to make sure we could still afford the stuff that I feel like is more of a priority than the other stuff, so. There was like a $17,000, $18,000 amount that was initially unasked for. Unfortunately, now that what I have to pay went up 30 grand because I couldn't use that 30,000 from the other one, ate that up, so when I go back, I will be asking for the full 195 in a detailed appropriation.
Okay.
So, if you guys want, that's what it's changed to. I didn't make 3 copies, that's not my fault. No, I think I included it in your
It's
thing.
in there.
Okay.
I gave my copy. to
Okay,
her.
so you can have that one. So, that will change, but I'm just keeping you guys in the loop on that one. So, first part of Stryker's done. Second part, Stryker Medical, where we have our $30,523.43 surplus, they won't cut back to us.
They won't.
They will not.
So how, I mean, it's just.
I gotta buy
this
stuff.
So we can buy stuff on their.
Yeah. So that's where we're at.
I mean, that's pretty usual for.
A big, yeah, I mean, so, with that, for your,
What are you gonna buy?
What could we possibly need?
so I have two quotes here. One of them is for stuff that I don't need right now, but it's wear and tear items like monitor lead cables, SPO2 cables, battery stuff that will wear out, that
You can store.
I can store. Right.
Doesn't have a shelf life.
Right. You know, a battery cable is $514 a piece. So I might as well utilize it to repurpose stuff that isn't going to perish and is going to end up being replaced at some point. So I've got two things on here. Whether you vote on it right now or whatever, you can digest it. I just want to let you know I've got two quotes. This one is for all the accessories that go with our monitors or our equipment, that just cords, leads, cables, batteries, chargers, modems, stuff that will eventually need replaced. So that's that one. And you can, the second one, plug your ears. The only thing that I can think of is to get a few more AEDs.
That we just sent back?
Yeah. I can't spend 30 grand on stuff that I don't need, and that can be utilized. I mean, we don't have to do it, I'm just trying to brainstorm ways of, I don't want this money to sit and go away. I mean, I can spend it on $30,000 of cables, but we won't use all of those in my lifetime. I mean, that's, even at $514 a cable, that's a lot of cables.
So we negotiate,
I don't have a say in this.
You wanna take 5?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll see
so
you
we
in a minute.
negotiate to send them back, and then because they gave us a credit.
I think from my understanding, and I've been wrong once in my life before, some of the stuff got sent back that, some of the stuff that got sent back wasn't originally supposed to be sent back. And it just kind of was like, here, take it all, and I think those were part of it.
Well, at the time, and I'm gonna say this, I was confused on the numbers because
I
thought
don't have
everybody,
a solid number.
I thought everybody had what they wanted before we sent them back.
They did
Come to
not.
find out, the sheriff wanted 3, we only gave him 2. We could've gave him a third one, or he'd have bought the third one out of his budget. I think there was some other fire departments that were up for buying some as well.
Correct. And with, so the two quotes that I gave you still leave $8,030.43 of credit.
So how many Lucases do you have?
How many do I have? 7.
You don't need those then. Yes,
Will you lose the money if you don't use it?
I don't know how long your credit's good for, so.
That's not a question I asked. The reason I don't want to sit here and wait is because I can guarantee one thing, I will put the amount of money that I own, ain't nothing gonna get cheaper with Stryker.
Yeah.
Not
Well, the
a
other
single
part of
thing
this-
is gonna go down in price with it.
The other part of this is that you can take stuff maybe out of what you would have purchased in next year or the year after or whatever, buy it now, as long as it's got a shelf life.
Right, and that's kind of what I was doing with the
Yeah.
cables and the batteries and stuff,
long as
because
we're not
we wrap
buying-
them up, they break, they bend, it happens, they're not a
As long as we're not buying something that is gonna run out of the shelf life and we just bought something for nothing. But
I'm pretty, I'd really like to use the money on that one. This one is just more of,
I'll switch you.
me trying to be the nice person that I am.
It's not on the agenda, so let's table that for our
Yep.
next meeting.
Fine.
Just digest it a little bit, but I think you need to come up.
I mean, I can spend the full amount.
I think you need to come up with enough, if you feel comfortable to come up with enough to spend our credit, I guess.
Okay.
And you feel like it's something that's, you're gonna need in the future supply and it's not gonna, expire or whatever.
Where did the credit come from?
So the credit came from the returning of the,
All the Lucases and.
life packs, power
There was a
load.
lot more equipment in that than 30,000.
Right, but what, I guess the difference is what we returned and then what we loaned, I think somehow fluctuated some type of credit, and that's why I don't understand why I can't, what we purchased from Stryker Medical is what we owe Stryker Flex. And I think there's a disconnect, and the two people that I talked to over the last 6 hours, over the last 2 days, we get to a stalling point when I ask that question. I said, how do I have a credit for stuff that I returned that I leased? I think the problem is the time period, there was some gap in which we got charged for it, then we returned it,
That's not right.
and,
But
yeah, so I'm not,
why don't you two talk about that,
Okay.
and we'll go from there with that, because I think,
but here's,
Zach was,
do you guys wanna digest them?
yeah, Zach was involved in that, and,
I just want to be very careful, you know, on the flip side, that ends up owing money again.
We will not.
well, I don't, also,
He's right in that you have to use that money to purchase from that same company, so it's not like, again, it's not appropriation or anything like that, the money's spent. You just have a credit that you could use to purchase, you know.
yeah.
I mean, I just don't want them to come back, oh, we're just sorry, we didn't have a credit, but you owe us this money.
Yeah,
It has been verified.
So it's like,
Credit.
the prior agreement was, you know, $212,973.60 per year. So that's a $70,000 or $60,000 difference
From what we're paying now.
annually from what we're paying now, but we have a credit for $30,000. I'm just trying to figure out.
Where does 31?
And like I said, I think it has to do with, because there was I think from my understanding, which could be wrong, there was 2 waves of stuff that got sent back. And apparently, according
There
to,
was, that's correct.
and I think somewhere between the first wave and the second wave,
That's right.
that started,
Okay.
and then that closed, and then they received the items, and they said, well, this
There
is
was
already
a second.
signed.
Now that you say that, that's
Yes,
right.
there was, this is already signed, this is already done, the only thing we can do is appropriate this credit towards you, because you've signed the agreement, you've done all that, that's where we're at.
So that deal was done.
Correct.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what I asked.
So, that's my understanding there. But, I just wanted to make you aware of this, and let you digest that until 2 weeks from now.
All right, sounds good.
2 more things and I'm done. I'm not particularly gonna read the bottom bullet on your front page out loud, unless you want me to, but I'm here to answer questions if you would like. Not to be cryptic, but this whole thing happened starting today very cryptically, and
Don't read it.
I'm not.
That sounds like something that should be handled in-house.
It's on your front page, bottom bullet point. With the air quotes.
Okay,
And-
we'll deal with that.
And on the same topic, I have received phone calls from a few entities of state level people, as well as people within the community, about a situation that happened within the last 10 days that I feel like we need to have an executive meeting for, because it's not something that I want to talk about in public.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you.
That might be a time we can talk about this at that same time.
That'd be cool.
Get with Tammy and make a formal kind of written request.
That meets the
And
guidelines.
well, we need to see if the request meets the guidelines for executive session.
Thank you.
Nick,
All right,
Nick,
Thank you.
You will.
come on up.
Let's make this quick this time.
What'd I do for time?
All right, so I think I gave it to Teresa, last meeting we did, cleaning, services. And we were gonna do a, make a motion, you guys are gonna try to make a motion to accept the contract contingent upon, council approval on May 10th. So we just, hopefully we can sign it. I think that should be in in the,
You're talking about the,
yes.
What is that?
It's should be a contract for the cleaning service.
Oh, okay.
exactly, this one.
She's got the original.
But you've got a copy, yeah, this should be in the packet.
So which company were we going with?
The Lust for Dust, they're the one that's $2,000.
What? That's just,
Is that the lowest amount?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it was $2,000 a month.
the other one was 1,000 more.
Yeah, it was 3,000, so just basically sign that contingent upon council approval. So basically they could get started whenever.
And to be, I guess, upfront, this is a cost savings to the county as far as not,
Yeah,
it's not an increase, it's gonna be a decrease. Services are gonna be still the same, and yet we're going to be able to outsource it.
yeah. We're gonna save between 18 and, what, $30,000?
It won't be a full elimination of that, job description or job position, because there's gonna be some pickup, I think, of some kind of off days, but it will be ultimately kind of a decrease in that line item for the allocated money on a yearly basis, because that's gonna go to a new,
Part-time position.
well, new, not part-time, it's gonna be contract work, so it's gotta be a whole different.
Yeah, okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept, what is it?
The cleaning contract.
What is it? Lust for
Lust for
Dust?
Dust. You may say it.
Yeah. Lust for
Yeah, it
Dust.
makes sense to me. I mean, it's, they'll be here.
They'll be here three nights a week, and then, but there'll be also 3 of them, and they're gonna try their best to keep the same 3, because they have 8 to 10 people that clean for this company, and they do banks all over the county and I think down south and couple.
And our savings is
Yeah, I mean that's what it's
benefits. They don't
at.
pay
Yeah,
benefits.
yeah. So.
And we did talk to the judges and they're.
Yeah, the judges and prosecutors are all, the judges and prosecutors are all on board with it. Again, trying to keep the same 3 in the building.
And this, who does the health department?
They did the health department, and now one of, I believe, their relations actually does the health department on her own.
Okay,
She was,
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Don makes a motion to enter a contract with Lust for Dust for $2,000 a month to provide, cleaning for the courthouse.
I'll second that motion.
Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so I just sign here.
yeah.
What else you got?
Alright, so last time we were here, we did the, do these fast, so, quotes, I know you wanted to get quotes for the concrete around the square. This would be 6 feet of concrete, I wish I would've brought my other paper with me, 6 feet of concrete, 6 inches deep, fiber. We sent out the same scope of work to every contractor that wanted to quote it. Some never did get back, some did get back late. Kind of one of those things that really couldn't go, but I got 3 separate quotes here because I only had 2 last time. So I have those, so do I open them or do they open them? I don't know who the 2 blank ones are.
Got your own knife?
This is for voucher services?
This is for
This is
concrete.
Concrete.
You make that shit?
Uh-huh.
You make that shit?
Probably. Yeah.
Do you sign? Oh, from my signer.
Are these all 3 local people?
Yes, all 3 of them. All 3 of them are local. I only reached out to local. I just thought that was. And I reached out to. I don't know, 5 or 6 different contractors, but I only got 3 of them back.
All right.
Yeah.
Got 3 different quotes here.
Somewhere.
One is from
Thank you. Thank you.
Is that Wilson?
I'll be all right.
Oh, yeah, his car was in Wilson. Sorry.
Yeah.
This
I
is
better take
from
that.
Wilson Concrete. Looks like, one makes, it's all for the exact, well, I won't say exact, but the length, the width, and the depth are all the same. And his quote is for $64,833.80.
64 what?
64,833.80. The second one is from Vance and Baker Concrete from Weston, Indiana, for the same, looks like the same thing. It's for $60,000. And then the third one is from E.T. Masonry Construction, Austin, Indiana. Looks like the same, and it's for $65,000. So we have one at 60, one at 64,883.80, and one for 6,500 even. So,
I will say, just for reference, and I'm sure all of you know, I'm sure majority of you know all the guys that are on there possibly. Me personally, mine don't matter, but at my property, I've actually used all three of these local concrete guys, and I'm very pleased with any of the three. So again, my opinion probably don't matter, but if I think all three of these companies do a pretty good job at the work they do. I don't know who would have more manpower to get it done. I guess it really is, majority of the thing is we can only do sections at a time anyways, especially, and I did tell all the people that did quote it, all the curb repair, basically you just have to look at it. We added in extra yardage for that curb repair, I believe.
they want them to,
And we will, the only thing we don't have in those, and I've notified all these guys, all these companies that did it, is everywhere around the square has handicap parking. So we will have to, when they go to put in, we will have to tear out an area to make a handicap accessible slope, since there is handicap, because if not, this handicap park over here has to go all the way around here and get to the corner, kind of a pain. So they're all aware that there will be handicap slopes put in there.
where you at, Kevin?
Are you putting rebar in the concrete?
We'd ask for fiber and
Mesh.
mesh, but I'm already asking the stipulation.
Yeah, I mean,
I think the mesh is acceptable, I just make sure that's steel in it.
yeah, we did fiber and mesh, because, I mean, better to go big, but, again, whenever if this is something that gets approved, and this is also something, I don't know if I speak out of terms here, but that my assumption, we're hoping we can take this out of ARP.
That's where I want to take it
That would be
from.
the plan, and hoping that this is basically a one big project, with the roof getting done, and I know it's separate, but the concrete around the square, just a safety issue. I mean, I know, again, the roof's been there for 148 years, and we're seeing issues now, and the courthouse without sidewalks all the way around it, it's been an issue.
Well,
Because you take safety with people getting out of their cars, and they've done it for years, and going around the backside and walking to the nearest sidewalk. People tracking mud. I mean, it just.
well, I told you from the get-go, I want to get people off the road, because they don't need to be walking behind their car to try to get to the next entrance where there's a sidewalk.
Yeah, and this isn't gonna be a, you know, it's probably not the perfect thing to do because you got posts in your way. We can't pull the posts. We can't, some things are just, it is what it is. That's why we went 6 feet instead of 4 feet, and also not having a space in between there, cause then you're gonna have, that's all gonna get dug up, so you're gonna have, until that grass grows back, mud in there as well. But the plan would be, I think if we can get with with Kevin, the county guys, eventually, hopefully, when they dig this out, when they dig these areas out, we're gonna reuse this dirt in the low spots in this courthouse ground to bring it up level, and hopes to stop, because we have a lot of flooding areas.
Is these prices, that concrete, is that just for the concrete only?
No, that's
Total,
concrete
that's
and
for total
labor. Yeah,
labor.
we did kind of a cost assessment before we did the scope of work, and it was around $28,000 for material.
I
And
remember you saying that.
yeah, so they're all pretty close. That's actually what we kind of did guesstimation of. So along the way.
Do we read the names and amounts for
Yes.
this? Okay, I'm sorry.
You need to read them?
No.
There's one thing I wanna hold up real quick.
I just wanna make sure.
Well, I want to table till the next meeting anyway, so we can,
And
we can discuss it. and
just
see.
my thoughts too, I want to table it for a while myself, because I don't think this will be my first priority on ARP. I want to see what we've got after we've been paid for our big projects, and then see what we've got. And then that may fit into it. For me.
I'd also like to reach out to each one of them real quick and ask them what gauge fiber, or what great gauge mesh, wire mesh, because I think we should probably do the heavy mesh. I wanna make sure that that's what they're bidding on.
Now, and I know everybody will know this, but the only thing with that, which is, again, this is what we do every time, it's how it happens, is the price is gonna go up with everything. So the next meeting we come back, it's probably gonna go up because of concrete. I just wanna throw it out there so everybody comes back and we're like, oh man,
Well,
now they're up to 70,000, so that's just a.
well, they told me that makes a difference, but, I just wanna make sure we get a heavy enough mesh the first time. Nobody's surprised, everybody's
Right.
bidding exactly like I said the same.
Okay, so
What
we'll
else
table
you got?
that. All right, this is the mowing quotes. With the courthouse, health department, and EMS. And then a separate one in the packet will be for the museum, because we've been basically helping the museum out and mowing it.
Yes, for the leaf removal.
I asked, yeah, because we did not have the leaf in that. Some people had leaf removal in there, or if it's a light amount of leaves, they can be mulched up, but heavy amounts they will.
Back.
Yeah, a lot of them said that theirs would be, even if it's not on there, theirs is just the same amount as what a mow would be. So if they come in and just raked it up, it would be the same what a mow would be. It's hard to do now with people putting 28 to 30 mows on there because we're already into so many months. So I don't know what they're going to be.
Before you
So-
open the requests on the museum,
They're separate.
well, and we had a discussion about whether or not State Board of Accounts will permit us to use public employees and funds to mow private property. I think under the reason that it was potentially okay in previous situations was because it wasn't public employees that were doing the work, right? At least that's my understanding. It was inmates, right? Is that not right?
The
Okay.
highway department, they utilize the parking lot. So they always just push hog it once or twice a year over there, so.
Well, yeah, we parked over there, at some time in the last couple of years, we've actually signed an agreement with them now. Whether we find that or not, I don't know. But maybe it's no good, but we did. We got to use their parking lot, and then we
You're
were.
using, again, even though, and probably a good thing to do is to do the same thing that I'm gonna do with Mr. Stiggin, is reach out
Which ones are the?
and
I don't know,
see
'cause they don't say.
what, if anything, we could possibly do, because I think it falls under the same provision
In each one.
that statute that prohibits us from using public employees on private land to do, using county equipment to do work.
But we can still, we can still go off the other ones for the courthouse, cause they're
Yes.
separate, correct?
Those are fine.
We'll table that on, I'll separate it here when I see it.
And I would, well, we can address it after you do this. Go ahead.
I'm gonna separate the museums out, so. You what? Bob Houston used to do this all the time.
Use more practice.
That's a weapon, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, ask her, when you made that shit.
I thought you said something else.
I'm not gonna ask you, I don't know. You thought I was
I guess why he's opening us up.
Yeah, you got anything you wanna talk about?
That's what I was gonna ask, I don't think so.
I will say this, I think you need to, with us going out to the Mass Park, need to make some sort of arrangement to go out there, you know, every other day or something and kinda clean. Dump trash or whatever. You keep it with your hand for
Huh? Oh, I
All right, I've separated the museum quotes out separate, so they're not in this group. So, here's your stab tool. All right, start here with, bid for, well, Masters, lawn care. Looks like it's for, it says April 1st, 2022 through November 30th. Courthouse, I guess we have to figure this ourselves. Courthouse is 100 per mowing, health department's 50 per mowing, EMS is 50 per mowing, total of 200 per mowing for all buildings. So I guess 200 times whatever from April to November the 30th.
28 is 5,600 if that helps.
That's what it was last time.
So it's gonna change then, I guess.
And that's for what all now?
That's for the courthouse,
So you think it's 56?
for, if it's 28.
April
I don't know.
1st to November the 30th.
So courthouse, EMS, health department?
This is everything but the museum. Huh? Okay, I'm sorry. The next one's from Jeff's Lawn and Lawn Landscaping. Courthouse lawn, EMS, health department, weekly as needed. Looks like $82.50. The next one is Stevens Mowing, and mow every week as needed, branch removal and leaf removal, $7,000. next one is TPG Lawn and Landscape Solutions. Looks like we hereby submit description, estimate, maintenance lawn for 2022. Services includes mowing, trimming, edging, cleanup. Price breakdown, see below. $200 per cut, 28 cuts. Is that 5,600 again?
Yeah.
Includes Scott County Courthouse, EMS building, Health Department, leaf cleanup, $500 each occasion as requested. So I don't know how you,
Who did that?
TPG,
I think it's the
Lawn.
party guys.
it's the Brian Smallwood.
You can try and,
Oh.
estimate number of,
I don't know how you,
well, how many times do you think that they'll need to mow? 500 per.
4
request.
times, or actually 4 leaves.
Probably, yeah,
Probably.
and that's what's normally in the fall for.
So you're talking another $1,500 on top of whatever he said at 28, 200 times 28. I know I did that last time for you.
5,600.
56,000.
So, and then add another 1,500 on top of that. So what are we at, 8,000,
Plus 1,500, about 7,100.
7,100? Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right, the last one here is from Scott's Mowing. It's mow, trim, weekly, courthouse. They've got it broke out, $125 per week times 28 is 3,500. EMS, Health Department, courthouse leaves per week. EMS leaves per week, Health Department leaves, for a total of 90, well, actually fee applied to all debit cards, $9,350. 9,350. And again, I'm gonna let everybody know that I will not be voting on these because Scott's Mowing is my son, so. So, with that, what's your poison? So it looks like you have, well, Masters at $5,600.
What did the master say as far as his?
And I think his was one of them that was, his would be a mow,
He
is
just-
what leaves were.
He just said he'd mow it.
And then,
TG, or
The part-
TPG said they would, $500 when we told them to come cut or mow the leaves.
Is this something we're
And
gonna
I do
vote on
wanna
tonight,
say-
or are we just gonna talk
I
about
think,
it?
well, I think we're all tired of mowing the yard ourselves, so. I'm tired of seeing other people's yards get mowed and ours not, so.
I can just give you my thoughts.
What's your thoughts?
As far as museum going, the sheriff's mowing at the museum now, and the other half I've been mowing.
So why is he mowing down there and no
He
place
said it's
else?
something to do with non-profit, I don't know for what's working in the city's part. Regardless, that's what's happening, that's being mowed. Pigeon Roost isn't on here, but I take care of that. Personally, I think maintenance can take care of the courthouse. I just think that should be a part of their job. That leaves EMS and, the health department. I went out and mowed the health department last week, or not the health department, EMS last week. And I don't expect this of them, but they've kind of been taking care of it anyway, and I didn't know that. So I think, in my opinion, health department and EMS is our concerns.
Josh, you have a mower that you can mow this place with, or do you have to buy more?
we don't have a mower. We have a corrections mower that needs a lot of attention. Bunch of push mowers. Go push mowers.
We could buy a new mower for the price we're paying.
Oh, I get that, but I guess I fall back to
And
the,
they've got two down at the highway
I did
garage,
get-
I'm sure we could borrow.
I did get a
we can't
quote.
borrow that because it's on.
I did get a quote on a mower and where we normally get our mowers through local, which is Ace, and he told me low 7,000.
Do you have a place to put it?
If we get that cleaned out
What's that?
behind corrections, we haven't really had an auction that we can take that stuff to other than the government auction that county highway uses, and I don't think there was anything set up for me. I had to go through a certain thing to do an auction setup, and that is full of IT computers and cabinets, lockers, old stuff.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we,
Do you have time to mow?
If we're dealing with I can make time to mow, but the problem is coming in here during the day when all the cars are parked around here to try to mow it. If I could come in the evenings or because I'll be honest, mowing around vehicles and weed eating around vehicles, people complain. Even when corrections did it, they do it during the day, and they complain about their cars getting hit. I mean, several times. I don't know how many times vehicles got hit out here by mowers when they were here, but I mean, if that's what you want me to do, I just need to get a mower to mow it. I would just have to, again.
I'll just go back to the why we're in this situation, and I just think that's not a very good.
Again, I don't care. It's never been on maintenance
Well, I think
to
you
mow,
used to
but corrections used to
Corrections
mow
mowed
it.
it, yeah.
Corrections mowed it with
Yeah.
their people.
That's
but-
where I'd like to go back to, but we're working on that, so.
But I mean, if this is like a 1-year type deal where we need to just have it done, I mean, I don't know. I don't. That's your guys' decision, but
Let's
Comes out of your budget.
let's table it, because I've got a lot of questions, because
I do too.
like I said, now that you just told me that, you know, the sheriff won't mow here, but he'll mow in Austin, he'll weed eat for Scottsburg, and he's mowing at the museum, but, you know, he can't find enough money in his budget to mow here. I guess it kinda,
If you'd ask somebody else to make the motion to table, just because,
yeah,
they're.
yeah, because
I'll make motion table.
John made a motion to table. Randy?
Yeah, I'll say that.
Randy's gonna second, and I'm actually gonna abstain from voting since my son owns one of these counties, so.
Now, I will go ahead and open, again, this isn't a public purchase in the same sense that we're not purchasing materials, it's a services contract. But I would go ahead and open, I wanted to do it separately, and there's a reason for that. Go ahead and open the
Museums.
request for the museums. But, my request is that the 2 other commissioners also table that, so that I can have an opportunity to review whether it's even possible for us to enter into an agreement like that. If it's not, I'll notify you guys at the next open meeting.
Do we even have to open that?
Well, I wanna go, the normal policy in public purchasing is that you open the bids at the time designated in the bid, though I realize this is not a bidding situation, just for, you know, fairness to all. Go ahead and open, read the names and amounts. And if we have to reject all proposals because it's not permitted, we'll deal with that at a later date.
concrete, I think. Those
Oh.
are just last three. Sorry, I didn't mean to hand them to you. Sorry.
All right, I'm gonna read these bids for Justin Museum. Scott's mowing, $5,100. That's 28 mows and 4 weeks of leaf pickup, and it's $5,100. Stevens mowing, mowing every week is needed, branch removal, leaf removal, $33.60. Jeff's lawn service, just says weekly or as needed, $28.50. The Masters Lawn Care, March the 1st through October the 31st, $150 per whatever, per mow. Figure that out. And I'll wait, because you're gonna have to figure this one out too.
4,200.
4,200. And TPG, looks like, maintenance for lawn for the 2022 season. Service includes mowing, trimming, edging, cleanup, price breakdown, see below, $90 per cut at 28 cuts. Leaf pickup is $200 per occasion. So, whatever 28 times 90, and then add, $800 onto that.
3320.
What was it?
3320.
All right, now I'll entertain a motion to table those.
I'll make a motion to table.
I made a motion to table the museum's bid. Randy seconds that, and I'm gonna abstain for the same reason, so. Thank you. All right, so those are tabled till next meeting or until we decide what we wanna do, and, for everybody's knowledge and, I guess their information, the 3 commissioners have been mowing the courtyard since this whole year, so. So again, I know I've mowed it once, and I think John's mowed it once, and Randy's mowed it twice, so I just wanna appreciate everybody doing that, otherwise we'd have to fence it in and put goats in here. And that may not be a bad idea.
You said $7,000 for another mower. Can you bring the description of what that mower is?
I guess, yeah, I'll just get closest to ballpark. I didn't know
Also,
Well, I guess get some quotes in on motors, so we know what we're looking at. And then, what type mower.
I
do
honestly
we
don't
wanna,
need
do
it.
we wanna look at getting a rear discharge instead of the side discharge?
I don't think they do very good.
we need probably a trailer to go from building to building.
Across the street.
Where? No, for EMS
Health
and health department.
You can just take a push mower out there.
I honestly think we could use them on the highway garage.
I don't know what shape the one at the highway garage is, but anyway, get some quotes. So, anyway, thank you.
Yep.
Community Crossing Corrections 2023 Grant Support Letter. Do we have any?
You got some?
I just got something I wanna give you guys, but we can do it.
Oh,
Go ahead. Nobody else here?
You guys, before I gave it to Marty, but I didn't get on the agenda because it just came out today.
So you serving Marty papers?
I told you guys a month ago or so about the missing exploited kid thing. We met all the criteria, and our certificate will be coming next week. That's the press release that'll be going out. I don't have a copy, so if you want to read it, Mike, you're more than welcome to.
All right, I will read it. It says Scott County Emergency Communications becomes a member of the premier program designed to protect Scottsburg's children. Should that not say Scott County's children, Jeff?
Yeah, I just ordered it changed.
Yeah. From the moment a report of a missing child comes in to a resolution of the case, every action taken has the potential to make the difference between a successful recovery or tragic outcome. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children developed the Missing Kids Readiness Program to promote best practices for responding to calls of missing, abducted, and sexually exploited children. 911 call centers and law enforcement agencies are recognized for meeting essential training and policy elements demonstrating preparedness for responding to a missing child incident. To meet the requirements of the program, Scott County Emergency Communications has worked with MCMEC on the missing child policy to ensure it met the critical elements of the model policy for all call center agencies. In addition, Director Jeff Ortner and Deputy Director Will Levens, completed and the required training and ensured all dispatchers and supervisors completed the online training required for their membership. By demonstrating remarkable leadership and making this commitment to training and preparedness, Scott County Emergency Communications is communicating to its citizens and families, protecting the lives and safety of the children is a top priority. Armed with the information, knowledge, and operational resources gained through the meeting the program criteria, Scott County Emergency Communications is positioned to respond more quickly, comprehensively, and effectively when a child's life may be at stake. Hopefully, other agencies in Indiana will recognize the achievement of Scott County Emergency Communications and will follow suit. We at the National Center would like to express our sincere gratitude and congratulations to Scott County Emergency Communications for achieving this milestone and for their diligence and commitment to children. So that has a link for, I guess, to read how the program works. So
This is a big deal, Jeff.
Yes, it is.
Good job.
thank you.
It's all on them people over there, so.
Well,
Thank you.
sometimes people take that call and don't take it seriously, and sometimes those kids fall through the cracks. So
That's a big deal.
it's a big deal. So anyway, back to anything else, Jeff? No. Back to the, oh, by the way, I'm gonna ask you while you're on the thing here. Did you, that minivan that you got from District 1, did you turn that into the insurance so that we can get insurance on it?
We sent off for the title, I've not heard anything about the title coming back yet, so.
Okay.
I'm assuming, because it was listed, Trina or somebody called me last week. and
Probably
asked
Lisa.
if 2 vehicles on the list was good,
Okay.
so I'm assuming it's already on the insurance.
Okay. Well, it wasn't on the last insurance thing I had, but yes, we just need to follow up, and make sure it's got
We're
insurance
still
on
waiting
it.
on the title to come back to get it licensed.
Okay.
It's been sent off.
All right, let me find this community crossing thing here. Community crossing thing. All right. This is from Amanda Hurt, Board of Commissioners support. So it was a consensus of the Scott County Board of Commissioners to allow support the 2023 IDEOC grant application as deemed at their May 4th, 2024 meeting. Please contact for any assistance. So like evidently they're asking for a grant. Is that correct?
Their yearly grant, yeah.
Okay. So they're just wanting us to approve their application for a grant. So
And that's pretty.
It's a yearly. I
Pretty
think
much
that's
pays for
their-
what they do, doesn't it?
That's their salaries.
Yeah.
So I'll entertain a motion to approve their yearly grant.
I'll
So
make that motion.
John made a motion to approve the grant, Randy?
I'll second.
Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so does, I guess there's
Tammy
nothing.
will sign it on behalf of the board.
Yeah, sounds good to me. All right, considerations of the April 2022 monthly claims. Everybody had an opportunity to look at those claims?
I did.
Randy?
Yes.
Need a motion to approve the claims?
I'll make a motion to approve claims.
John made a motion to approve the claims, Randy? Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so. There are some considerations of claims for Baker Tilly for $4,470.29. I'll just read them all here so that, that one looks like it was for services, professional services related to the American Rescue Plan. So again, it was for $4,470.29. And the second one is from Royalty Roofing for, I guess, roof that they've got to this, or what they've done to this date for $111,748.50. So I will entertain a motion to these two additional claims.
And I'll make that motion. I'm just curious, so royalties, or my funds are already set up in Baker Tilly, that's coming out of
Or
ARP, okay. All right, I'll make the motion.
John made a motion to accept these two additional claims, Randy.
I second.
Randy seconds that, I'll make that unanimous, so. Payroll ratifications, everybody had an opportunity to look at payroll.
Yep.
I'll entertain a motion to accept the payroll for April 22nd, week ending.
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
John made a motion, Randy?
I second.
Randy seconds that, I'll make that unanimous, so. All right, with that, I guess we're to the attorney comments.
I have nothing at this time.
Attorney has no comments, which is amazing.
I'll leave it at that.
Anyway, John, you have any additional?
Well, I just want to say what I've said before. I think we ought to consider moving some money from ARP over to our roads and landfill. And I don't know how long we need to wait for that, or if, I know the council has to approve it too, don't they? And
They have to appropriate.
I would like to,
That's.
I don't know if if tonight's night, but I would be ready to do that at any time.
I'm sorry, John, what was that for?
Some money for roads and also take care of the landfill to get, we spent just $800 welding the hopper out there. And so it's,
What roads are you wanting to?
I've got several in my district, each of us in our district would have to take care of them. I mean, I've got some in mine that need to be done. And, you gotta be up to you on yours. And whatever amount we think's necessary, I threw out the number 200 per district, but whatever.
Kevin, can you come up with on your list that you had the priority list of roads and stuff that need to be taken care of first? I mean, can you get each of us something, a couple of places in our district so we know? And then maybe,
No problem. Probably looking at, for 200,000, probably, 3 miles per district.
per district.
The Boatman area in mine, first one, but that's not the only one. We got Ray Road, of course, we talked about Terrell Road, and I know you got a certain
And
amount.
that's full, now, I say
Yeah.
that's full 2-inch overlay. You know,
Yeah,
I mean, if there's,
yeah,
obviously we could stretch it on further by not doing
Yeah.
that, if we just take care of certain areas.
Can you come up with,
A lot of that.
can you come up with particular roads that are on your list to be taken care of for each
Yeah, we
of
got
us?
a pretty good list, I won't be no problem. I'll
Okay.
just kind of pick the.
We don't have to do it at the meeting, you can just reach out to us or send
Yeah.
us an
Send
email.
an email, I think.
well,
Send us an
and
email.
like I say, the hopper and compactor too, we need to look at, or if we have other options, fine, but let's.
Well, again, back to the ARP money, I know we had a meeting one day and talked about, opened up some grants that people had requested for, 501Cs and private organizations. So we haven't really considered those yet either, so, Rand, is that all you got, John?
Yeah, I mean, those, there's several on there, like you said, in the 501, but to me, I think we gotta take care of our county business first, and those nonprofits, we'll see hopefully we'll maybe set something aside for that at the end there, but, I mean, just my priority right now is roads and landfill. I'm sure there's other stuff, courthouse and all that, I know the bridge, and, somewhere we're gonna find out how much we got left, there may not be much.
Yeah, I think we've already appropriated the money for the bridge.
Yeah,
So.
he did.
What else you got?
Nothing other than I will say, as far as the local funds, appropriating money, there's no better way to, I think, to give back to taxpayers than to give them good roads.
Yeah.
From what we have going on. I do know that there's roads that, community crossings may take care of coming up in the future.
What's the voter on the bottom?
And my only hesitation right now would be whether or not we're gonna have to build onto the courthouse.
I'm used to doing it on mine. What do you
Because
do?
if we're made to build on the courthouse, I want to see how much that costs us before. And not to say one's more important than the other, but I want to see the full picture before I say.
There you go.
But the road, I love the road idea. I'll be honest with you, I do. Like I said, I don't know how else to give it back to the taxpayer than to give them good roads under the circumstances in which we can spend it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and like I said, I'm gonna ask tonight, I think it's something we ought to probably develop within the next, by June.
Okay. All right, well, the only thing I have, and this is something I've been talking about for a few meetings now, and it's vehicles and insurance, and I took the insurance list that the auditor's office had given us. I also took a list that the auditor had for all the county vehicles. So I'm gonna show you some spreadsheets here that I've created. If I can get this thing to open up. All right, on this first one, and they're not in any particular order here. This first one happens to be the sheriff's office. And as you see, I went in order of year of the vehicle, the type of vehicle. So anyway, these are all the VIN numbers, and the X out to the right is actually where I went and verified that it corresponds with the insurance list. So as you see, the 2010 Ford Crown Vic is on the auditor's list, but it's not on our insurance list. So I don't know if it's a car that's been junked or whatever, but as we go down through here, the numbers out here at the side are just indicates we have 5 Crown Vics, and we have 3 Explorers and 2 Tahoes, and that's just another. Anyway, there's all the Chargers from 2012 to 2017, and then we moved into buying, I think, trucks and Durangos from that point. But there's all the trucks, the Durangos. There's the ones out to the right, whether we have a loan still on them. And then we get into the total here. And again, these are not, I'm not saying these are the vehicles that are all being used, I'm assuming, by, the sheriff's department and probably some by the jail. But anyway, there's 43 total vehicles, and this doesn't include the vans, as you can see below that. Has 2 transport vans, and 2 trailers. There's another category here that I wanted to show, that these here were all on both lists that were either wrecked or decommissioned or whatever, but, one of those vehicles, still on our insurance list, the one in red, still, even though it's decommissioned, we're still paying insurance on it, so. And then, the Tahoe was the black Tahoe that had the military graphics on it that got traded for another pickup truck from Bob Pointer last year. The ones in yellow here are actually vehicles that show on our insurance list, but the auditor doesn't have any, they're not on any of the auditor's list. So the only thing I can assume by that, and I know what you get for assuming, but is that these possibly could be government auction vehicle that he bought through the government situation, where you can go online and sheriff's departments can buy vehicles, but I don't know anything about those vehicles there. This here is just a breakdown of how many vehicles we have, for how old they are. So we technically have 18 Crown Vics, or actually, I'm sorry, one 18-year-old Crown Vic, one 14, and it goes on down, as you can see there. So, and those, again, equal 43 vehicles. So, that was with the sheriff's department. With the area plan, of course, there's I guess, Marty, I'm gonna ask, does Ben still have the Explorer?
Yes.
Okay, so there's the Explorer for the area plan. There's the new vehicle, the newest one. I guess he's gone now. There's the two vehicles that, the prosecutor's office has. There's the corrections department, and again, here's two vehicles that we're still paying insurance on. They're saying they're not using them, which are the two Impalas. And then they have three vehicles. And I always said, now that system's kind of changed over there with them not doing all that driving around, do they actually always need three vehicles? So I'm not saying they don't need vehicles. I don't know what the needs are as much as they used to be. So as far as Jeff, there's the one that, the insurance on the minibus, if you can get that. Here's the EMS. Of course, we sold this truck and we need to make sure it comes off the insurance on the one we just sold. And then two of these trucks are going to Kevin, so there's gonna be a kind of a swap here eventually. So, then we're at the health department. The health department's got, I guess, a trailer and a cargo trailer. And then they have a Durango, a Colorado, and an Equinox, and a cargo van. And then here's Kevin's list of stuff here. And this is why I was questioning Kevin earlier. Down here at the bottom in the yellow were three that we probably need to get insurance on, that we're not showing insurance on them right now. So, and but anyway, these are all Kevin's stuff here. They're dump trucks, and Kevin, I know you've sold a lot of stuff, so you're probably getting down where you don't have a lot of excess, correct?
No, we're down to about bare bones.
So everything you have, it's utilized.
Yeah, we're using.
So anyway. Like I said, and then actually we've got poor little Andrew here with his vehicle, so. But anyway, I just wanted to, I know there was a comment made some time back about how many vehicles everybody had and how they were all, questioning about what they were, what they weren't. I'd entertain anybody bringing another list that, between the auditor and the insurance, if there's another list, a vehicle list, then I don't know why somebody else would have something that is not, but again, in this day and age with fuel prices at $4.15 a gallon and insurance, premiums, I'd be curious of how much we're paying for insurance on a lot of vehicles that we probably, I don't know if we need the need for them. So I will be trying to bring something to our next meeting where I'm going to ask, if everybody feels like, cars are where they need to be, or every department has what they need or they don't need, or, so we can trim these down because, and I'm not picking on the sheriff by any means, but 43 vehicles, and I just looked at the payroll. There are 23 employees on the sheriff's department. Now, granted, there are some employees from the jail that are using vehicles as well, but 43, and I just looked and it was 23 people on the payroll. So I think we may have an excess of cars. We would like to know if we need them or not. So anyway, that's my tidbit. So if anybody, and John, Randy, I both have you copies of what I've got here. So if you guys want it, so that's all I got. So if anybody's got any questions or anything else, other than that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion again.
I'll make that unanimous, and John, I can't believe you got here at 7:30.
I know it.
This is the fastest
Well,
meeting you've ever had.
Kevin didn't talk very much tonight.
I'll have to pay for it.